FASA believes that franchising is a way of stimulating growth in our economy. There are numerous ways that we can do this. First, as the franchise commercial sector, but also with the assistance of the government with initiatives like social, tandem, micro-franchising, where franchise systems can be established to empower communities throughout South Africa.
And that is why it was therefore important for us when we started engaging with FASA that we need to start working together because from where we come from as a SETA is that there's power if there's collaborations amongst ourselves rather than working in silos.
It's out of all these challenges that exist in this country, as individuals and leaders of business, government, and so on, what is the role that we can play in assisting South Africa as a beautiful country to alleviate all these challenges that exist today? And one of them, as we've spoken about, is the high unemployment rate that exists in this country. Is the highest in the world, by the way.
You need to have an eye for good talent and invest in good talent. Because at the end of the day, you can train millions of young people to be entrepreneurs. But if they don't have it within them, they won't succeed. You can give them funding, they won't succeed. Being an entrepreneur, it takes a special kind of a human being. You gotta be mad to start a business, especially in this country with load shedding and everything, and still run a business and still have it within you every morning to wake up and say, I'm going to serve my country.
The leadership attributes of franchisees needs to be spoken of upfront as we recruit, because you need to be in a system that works. It's tried and tested. So I think for the success is to make sure that the strengths lie in the body that's got the strength, and the other party needs to be open for learning and let the experts do what they're good at.
Government, I believe in terms of skills development, has done quite a lot. That is honestly my view. We have 21 SETAs. We have the National Skills Fund. So we can't really say government is not doing enough. What we can ask of them also is a bit more integration. There's a lot of things happening. This one, for example, we have SETA. They will be doing some training, short courses and so on. So there's a lot happening, but integration and want to really say, where do I get all of this? Where can I go and understand all of this is still a bit of a challenge.
It's not that funding is not available. It's that the companies are not yet, fund ready, and by this I mean, when it comes down to the compliance documentation that needs to be filled out, we hit roadblocks because they're just not ready for that type of funding. And as Minister said, if you haven't had 10 million, I don't know how you're going to manage 100 million. So it's also an issue of financial management and not completely understanding how to, once given funding, how to utilize that funding productively in order to grow businesses.
The decision is to consolidate or to expand. So it's a very serious decision to take. And perhaps it's a franchisor's nature to want to expand, but rather sit tight and see what's going to happen first. Consolidate what's working well before expanding with new adventures.
Have you got a franchise personality? Because to manage, and you saw this from Greg's side this morning, to manage franchisees is very, very different to manage company. And you get MDs, many of them, I don't want to mention now, but they are aggressive. You better do this or else, And those kind of guys don't make a good franchisor. So you've got to be a people person.
This strategy of involving high potential young managers in business ownership is definitely an effective way to grow your networks from within and it gives a win-win succession plan for the many baby boomer franchisees who are now wanting to exit their businesses. So I'm mentioning this to you as a trend. There's an increasing number of franchise networks around the world using this strategy, and it's a great way to keep your network fresh and growing.
The brilliant analyst commentator called Benedict Evans, and his way of explaining artificial intelligence or ChatGPT is to say you have infinite interns. You have someone smart who's getting a bit of degree of experience after their degree that you can give a task to for free. And that's what you need to think of it by. Lots of business models are going to emerge, and I'll make sure that we write about the ones specific to franchising on stuff.
Our renewable energy sector is flying. We are lending so much into, batteries, solar installations, but unfortunately, it's the economy needs energy to grow, so it's not the greatest position to be in. But we're quite optimistic that actually what we're seeing now has changed the environment, and the investment we've seen into renewable energy is going to continue into the future, even when load shedding is not here.
As a management team or a franchisor, it's your responsibility to adapt to changing circumstances. And that effectively, combine that with resilience and put that together and recognizing that you're responsible for every one of your franchisees, for every one of their employees, to ensure that they maintain their business, that they grow their business, and that they're able to flourish in a circumstance that none of us wanted to go through.
Most importantly, I think what is exceptionally important is that we understand that franchising is not a recipe for success. Yes, the percentage of failure is a lot less in the franchising environment. But I think we should get this notion out of our heads that because you're joining a franchise, because I promise you, I've had one recently, and I know I will know what I'm talking about. Recently, we had a problem for every solution.
Maybe some models are not geared for franchising, and maybe some markets are not geared for franchising. Because if you want to roll out, say, big scale in the township economy, you are going to compete with the taverns and the spaza shops and so forth. I know these franchises there, and fascinating enough is that a lot of those franchises in the townships do extremely well, but they only cater for the upper market or the upmarket consumer there.
To achieve the vision of building a strong and sustainable small business sector, partnerships with organizations like FASA becomes key. We're already financing, as I indicated, some of the franchises and find them to be among the least risky SMMEs with very low impairment rates due to their high levels of sustainability. And I want to applaud you for that. Because although I'm saying there's companies there's individuals that still complain, but majority does well in the business model that we're talking about.
We are passionate about youth employment opportunities. We are passionate about upskilling entrepreneurs to get into franchising. I think what is important is the intention from the target markets, the youth, women and so forth, to also come and join us. But I think I'll take this opportunity to indicate that we are going to launch a platform where we want everybody and anybody to be aware of what we are doing. We're going to be launching a franchise TV. So this is good news for us. I think some you are not aware, but I think soon we're going to be launching franchise TV, which will provide more information about programs and processes and avenues, funding, training, information, awareness, and so forth.